Hello everybody, welcome to Sarah's Spare Corner. I have just finished Tears of the Kingdom. I am very happy. It was a great game. Honestly, the emotions, the experience would probably bring me to the level of nostalgia that I still have for Ocarina of Time. And I actually just played Ocarina of Time recently, again, and I can say that this game, without a doubt, outshines Ocarina of Time. There's only one thing though. I played Tears of the Kingdom wrong. Like, no, how can you say, how did you play Tears of the Kingdom wrong? There's no possible way that you could play that game wrong. Technically, yes, there is no wrong way to play Tears of the Kingdom. You could do whatever you want. You could go straight to the Demon King if you wanted. But if you're just about to buy the game, if you just bought the game but you haven't had time to sit down, if you're slowly making your way through the game and you haven't really done much, they kind of give you the opportunity to do everything all at once. So they will give you this quest at the exact same time. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely a couple of quests that are kind of saved later in the game, but if you're like me, you are very curious about all of the opportunity things because maybe you've played Breath of the Wild, or maybe you haven't played Breath of the Wild, but there are some things along the map that maybe you have unlocked that seem curious, or looking for something specific and you stumble on another thing kind of thing. It's very easy to do something a little too early. And now that I kind of have played the game, I kind of understand the format in which, how I should have played it. And again, you don't have to play it a certain way, but certain conversations that you'll have with NPCs later won't quite make sense for the period of time that you're talking to them because something that you've done earlier in the game has already happened, which happened quite frequently to me at the end of the game. I ended up doing certain things a little bit earlier, so I ended up having conversations with later NPCs that I was like, I already figured that out. And it kind of got a little bit annoying, and that was just because of my mistake, because I was curious and I wanted to try things out. The premise of this video is, again, if you're just casually playing Tears of the Kingdom, if you just bought the game or you're curious about buying the game, or even if you have played the game and you have tried out all the things that I'm going to talk about and you kind of also did them out of order or you did them in a different order, let me know in the comments what you think about what I'm about to say. I kind of wrote out a list of play the game how you want to play. How maybe things could have been done differently for me. That might have changed my gaming experience because I know there was something that happened earlier in the game that I was actually very disappointed about because it was spoiled way too early for me because of my choices that I made. For an enjoyable gaming experience, I'm kind of gonna give you some tips on how to play this game in a way that it won't feel overwhelming, you won't feel like you have to do everything at once. It'll make the experience a little bit more enjoyable and maybe you'll feel like you can explore more because even with Breath of the Wild, and I did this, I didn't really do any exploring until like the end of the game, and I kind of regret it. And I did it with both games. So maybe in a way this will kind of help you to not feel maybe overwhelmed with how large the game is, because it is a very large game. But maybe it'll also like encourage just curiosity in general. So then that way you don't get overwhelmed and start looking at everything because what if you miss something? I'm going to try to be as vague as possible because I don't know where you're at in the game. So I have marked off certain sections in my speaking points, and I will have them time slot in the comments, and I'll probably also write texts about where you can skip. If you haven't made it very far in the game, then it's probably that you won't make it very far in this video, or you can always come back to it and then look at the next talking point once you have progressed that far, or if you enjoy spoiling yourself, that's totally fine. I am warning you now, though, there will be slight spoilers. Again, I'm going to try to be as anti-spoilerish as possible, but if I'm coming to a certain section point, it assumes that you've made it past what I've already, described in the last section, so it won't feel like I'm giving you spoilers before it's done. It will be in a line with the game's prompts. So that way you kind of know where you're at in the game, and then also you'll have certain cutscenes or something, they'll be in order, or talking to certain NPCs will be in order, and then that way there isn't so much spoilerish going on, and then hopefully my talking points won't give out the game too much to you. It'll just kind of lead you in a direction, but not tell you what direction you're going in, if that makes sense. And again, I am trying to be very vague because at the very beginning of the game, there is so much they throw at you immediately. So I'm going to try to be as vague as possible so it doesn't ruin anything for you. This assumes you have played through the beginning of the game and up till you fall from the sky to Hyrule. If you're not there yet, then don't listen to this, because that will give something away. And I want to be, again, very spoiler free, right? So I'm going to try to be as vague as possible with this one point. There's only one point in this section. There will be a thing that you will automatically be drawn to. Go to it. That's all I'm going to say. You will know what I'm talking about once you kind of get to that point. Like, it will just make sense. But again, it is a free world game. You can do what you want. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. Again, trying to be very vague because this is in case somebody maybe didn't click off in time. So this clarifies a little bit more. There will be a quest that unlocks once you go to that thing. So being vague as possible, now I'm going to be a little bit more clear. This assumes you went to that thing and unlocked a quest. Now I'm going to assume at this point that you did said quest and then you came back to Lookout Landing. If you haven't, don't watch this part of the video. Do the quest that they give you and then come back, okay? Okay. This assumes that you did that quest at Lookout Landing and you came back to Lookout Landing, okay? So after speaking to Pora and visiting the castle, you will return to unlock 4 new quests. I'm assuming that you've unlocked these quests. If you haven't unlocked these quests, stop watching the video, because I'm going to start saying something that maybe might spoil something, okay? After you've returned, you have unlocked the 4 anomaly quests, or the 4 regional phenomenon, I think it is. That will be your main point for the beginning of the game. So that's definitely going to be a focus for you, or I would recommend should be a focus. I, kind of like Breath of the Wild, I played those out of order, and I didn't really prioritize them because I wanted to unlock the map first, but in doing so, I ended up doing a lot of other things that should have been later in the game. And in Breath of the Wild, it didn't matter so much, but in Tears of the Kingdom, I think it matters way more because of the things that you do unlock on the map. So I would actually recommend hold off doing a big search of mapping and then doing regional quests. I would actually recommend doing them simultaneously, doing them the exact same time. That way there's a little bit more cohesive movement in the game. I would also recommend at this point, while you're still at Lookout Landing, go speak to Jasa. I would recommend following them first, like follow Jasa, because they'll run off, follow them to where they go, and then speak to them where they go. That will unlock a quest. That quest is heavily important. I wish I unlocked it sooner. I think I played at least 5 straight full days of the game before unlocking this one. And then also, while you're at Lookout Landing, I would recommend speaking to mostly everybody there. They will give you various prompts, opportunities, side quests. They'll kind of give you tutorial-based explanations. So that is a good place to start as well. I want to talk about random things like clothing items you can get or special swords that you could do. This will just be a list of beneficial things to prioritize. Those other things are very important, and I will get back to that in a second, but these are kind of things that you get thrown at all of a sudden, and it can feel a bit overwhelming, and you'll want to do all of them at once if you have my problem. So once you get the regional phenomenons, that will be your first priority. That and unlocking the towers. At the very beginning of the regional phenomenon quest, you will probably meet Impa. If you haven't met Impa yet, please turn off this video, because what I'm about to say is going to probably spoil something, so keep that in mind. I think because in Breath of the Wild, visiting Impa was a major quest point, it is natural for you to feel like following along on her quest needs to be immediately done. I felt that I should prioritize Impa's quest. That was so not true. I should have waited a long time before I prioritized that one. I don't recommend following Impa's prompts. The best you could do is probably the first one, and then after you do the first one, Impa will recommend a second one. You could probably do that second one, but I wouldn't recommend anything further than that. There is a point that I feel like would have been more beneficial to seek out Impa's quest points, but it's not now. It's not really necessary to do it at the beginning. I do have it in my section list of when it's probably more beneficial to look. It also can kind of make the game flow a little bit better, and that's why I'm recommending this. But again, you can just disregard what I'm going to say and go off and do it, so whatever. Visiting all the villages for now is a good choice. I would say leaving Loren Village last to be explored is okay. You could probably wait before exploring this one, just because I noticed later in the game I was having a conversation with one of the NPCs, and they mentioned something that happened prior concerning that village. It's not necessary to go off and go visit that one right away. At this point, you can unlock most of the map and the stables. I would actually say the stables are very important at this point. If you haven't done that, then I would recommend stopping this video now, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about one of the stables. Now at this point, I would recommend to try to do all of the Lucky Clover quests here. I think there's about 9. There might be a little bit more, I'm not sure. But this is the point of where to do it, because it aligns with the earlier parts of the story. It makes a little bit more sense. Basically, at the beginning of the game, you're just unlocking everything. So, or I should say, there is more of a major need to do this now than later. So, this is where I would start doing that one. And this is also this part of the section, because you're going to go off and search the map and, unlock stuff. For now, avoid various land or sky nature points of interest. You're going to see some stuff on the map. You're going to be like, that looks really cool. I want to go to it. It's not necessary. You don't have to go right now unless it is tied with the quests, like the 4 main phenomenon quests. It is not necessary to go and check out every single one of these really cool nature points of interest. They will make more sense after you do the next section. Avoid the glyphs. We've already talked about this. Avoid them. You could view the first 2, as I've previously said, if you really want to know. But if you watch too many later, dialogues will be out of order. But we're not there yet, right? So you don't have to. Once done all these things, then go back and talk to Pora, and the next main quest will show up. This assumes that you've answered the lingering questions about the mysterious sightings of Zelda around Hyrule. You've done the Lucky Clover quest, that you've done the 4 major phenomenon quests. Those 2 before this section need to be done. It wouldn't make sense to do them after this point. So if you haven't done those, don't come back into this video until you've done both of those things. You can go visit Loren Village at this point. Loren Village, I should say, is not a main quest point, but it is kind of important for conversation point. And it makes more sense to do it at this point as well. You've gone back, talking to Pora after you've done the 4 regional phenomenon quest, and they have sent you on another quest. Once you go talk to Pora after you've come back to speak with her about the regional phenomenons, she will then send you on a quest. You will go do that quest, then you will come back to her. I'm assuming that you've done it now that we've done this little pause thing, and we're going to move on from these talking points. This assumes you've been to Hyrule Castle, and this also assumes that you've answered all the lingering questions about the mysterious sightings of Zelda around Hyrule. At this point, start visiting all the villages. Again. So you've already villaged them. You've already visited them prior. Go visit them again is always a good choice. There's lots of things you can do on all of the villages. I would recommend visiting Korok Forest. You've probably also been entrusted now to find the 5th sage. I wouldn't say rush looking for this one. If you follow the gaming prompts, you will end up finding the 5th sage in a nice flow. So just do all the things I've already said in this section, and then it'll kind of just flow to you. You won't have to look hard for it. It will just naturally happen. After doing all of these things, go find the rest of the glyphs. And at this point, it will make more sense why I said what I said prior. Now you can start looking for the Master Sword. So after finally getting the Master Sword, because you have found it, go visit the Great Deku Tree again. And here's why. This is kind of a theory I have. I have no proof of it. When I found the Master Sword, it was a little bit earlier in the game, I made an error, which is very easy to do apparently, concerning the Master Sword. Now that you've found the Master Sword, go back and meet the Great Deku Tree, and go back and meet the 5th sage. Hopefully that doesn't give too much away. And I hope I'm being clear enough. I don't want to cause you to go on a rabbit trail that wasn't necessary. There's a lot that I did not need to talk to you about. A lot of it is also self-explanatory. A lot of it is just something that you kind of find along the way. At this point, you've mostly covered everything. There is not much left to do. I assume you've already spoken to Pora after finding the 5th sage and the Master Sword. So the only things I have left to say is, in terms of Korok seeds, a full Korok seed inventory unlock is not necessary like the first game. I lasted the final battle with just the Master Sword, a couple of bomb-infused arrows, a Lionel bow, Hylian shield, and 40 plus light dragon spikes that I had got from farming on the light dragon. At this point, the game kind of just prompts you in the direction where you want to go to finishing the game. And I just want to say good luck. I hope that my talking points have helped you along this journey. I really hope that somebody sees this before making the choices I made, because boy do I regret playing Tears of the Kingdom the way I did. That being said, does this ruin the game for me? No. Do I think that ruined the game in general? No. Does it think it actually matters in terms of the long-term gameplay? No, because this is still the best Zelda game that I've ever played. This is still the most exciting, emotionally compelling, irksome. It just provides a variety of emotions that can take you on a trip. I enjoyed thoroughly every moment of this game. I almost didn't want to beat the game just because of how much I don't think any of those hours felt wasted. But I hope that if you end up following what I suggest, that it does create an enjoyable experience for you. It takes you on a flow instead of like oh, this I did over here should have been over here, and so it doesn't feel like a jumbled mess. I hope that this kind of flows the overall experience of the game for you. I hope that it is memorable. So anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you end up following this direction that I post. I don't even know if I have enough viewers to say that anybody's going to take my advice on this, but oh, hello kitty. But I hope that regardless what happens, that you enjoy playing Tears of the Kingdom as much as I have. And I just want to say thank you for watching. You don't have to like or subscribe any of my stuff. I'm not going to enforce that. I've been doing YouTube for about 10 years now, and I only have 74 subscribers now. But either way, the 74 subscribers that I do have, I am all thankful for every single one of you. New and old, thank you for continuing to watch my videos as I sit in my basement and ramble with myself to a camera. But also to you as my viewer and possible friend, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me talk to a camera. And thank you for enjoying this hobby that I like to do for myself. For now, thank you for watching. Good luck on your Zelda game playthrough, and if you finished the game already and you're just listening to my talking points, let me know in the comments what you think about my previous talking points. If you're just starting to play the game, or you played a little bit but not a lot, and you do end up following my suggestions, let me know in the comments if you did, and let me know how it changed your gameplay versus if you did what I did. Anyways, bye now.